I'm John Peterson, author of Playing at the World and Game Wizards. You are listening to Morrus's unofficial tabletop RPG talk.
This week, Morrus, Peter, and Jessica talk about the history of VECNA. In the news, a D&D Beyond update, Star Trek Adventure 2nd Edition coming soon, Discworld getting a new RPG from Modiphius, and more, plus a brand new sketch about using unique artifacts to defeat a great evil. This week on Morrus's unofficial tabletop RPG talk.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Brandistock's Polearm Emporium. You can find Brandistock's in Upper Ramsbottom Street in the town of Thornistons, just past Mrs. Cockle's Codpiece Boutique. Brandistock's Polearm Emporium sells a wide range of halberds, glaives, and bohemian ear spoons. Ear spoons? That's not a real thing, is it? Ridiculous. What is this nonsense anyway? I can't believe I'm reduced to flogging this low-class commoner tat to pay my rent. Anyway, go to Brandistock's for pointy sticks.
All the tabletop role-playing news, we aim to amuse and we aim to enthuse. And Morrus's unofficial tabletop RPG
Hello, and welcome to Morrus's unofficial tabletop RPG talk. I am Russ, aka Morrus, or Morrus, aka Russ. And with me this week is...
PJ Coffey from the Southampton Guild of Roleplayers. Russ, as ever, it is a delight to be here. And joining us also, we have the lady, the business manager of Ian World, who has survived a dreadful onslaught of not one, but two dogs that were very pleased to see her. It's the one, it's the only, it's
me, Jessica from D&amp Publishing. And yes, I went round Russ's house yesterday to pick up the Level Up starter box set, the only one currently in existence, because I'm running it this weekend, because it's currently being produced. And I decided I really wanted to say hi to the dogs, and they were equally as excited to see me as I was to see them, and
Oh, don't let anyone write on those character sheets this weekend.
I will not, no, because
keep them safe and precious.
Yes, no, that was the thing, because these are the only ones in existence.
Yeah.
Currently. I might ask them...
Should utilise a printer at some point. This newfangled tech, apparently, that you can transfer images and writing from your computer screen onto a sheet of paper via the medium of a kind of like box, some kind of magic box, which is amazing.
Well, I have one of those and they don't work. Wow. They're such brats.
Right, let's do some news. Let's do some Star Trek news. Star Trek!
Trekking across the universe, always going forwards. Yes.
Modiphius, the publishers of Star Trek Adventures, a game which Peter and I play once every 9 years on a Sunday, apparently.
Hell.
Right,
that's very unfair.
Is it designed to be a monthly campaign?
Yeah.
But then sometimes you have to skip a month because people's lives happen in it. Yeah.
Anyway, so Modiphius has announced a second edition of Star Trek Adventures, which is coming out this Gen Con, so in August, really soon.
That is really soon.
Really, really, really soon.
And there's going to be a starter set. Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, there's not massive amounts of info. There's a mailing list.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be the core book coming out at Gen Con and a starter set, like you just said, shortly afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be compatible with first edition supplements.
Mm-hmm.
They are using the word edition, though. Brave.
Oh.
And that's basically all we know, really, so far.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to sign up to the mailing list, at EM World we have, so we'll tell you what's going on. So
yeah, we know what the score is.
So if you really don't want to, but yeah, that's how you get the latest news from them.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see what changes they make.
Yeah.
Especially with you two, because you play the system, so you'll know it quite well. So I think there'll be opinions on this podcast about changes.
It's not that complex a system. It's fine. It just works. You don't have to think about it.
Yeah, I'm still not 100% sold on the way metacurrency is used in it, because I just feel like it's too easy come, easy go that it might as well not be there.
Are you hoping that'll change in the second edition then?
For listener reference, both myself and my wife, who are players in this game, are like, that will give us lots of bonuses. These are basically like bennies from Savage Worlds. So we will take the option that enables us to absolutely farm them. So Russ is like, it's too easy to get hold of. No, Russ, it's not too easy to get hold of. Normally, it's when you don't have two players sitting opposite you who are farming it.
Yeah.
But do you think a
It's
lot of players of Star Trek RPGs are those kind of players, though? Maybe.
I think that's
not my problem.
I think there's just a little bit of arbitrariness about them. It's like sometimes you're charged for extra information in terms of momentum points, and sometimes you're not. And it's just kind of like, if you've got a lot, then the GM might just tax you some of them, sort of thing. And I don't quite like that aspect of the system. I think it could just be tightened a little, structured a little more, I think.
Peter,
But still, we'll see.
Is there anything you would like to change about it, or you would like to see in second edition? It sounds like you're pretty happy with it, to be honest. So I'm not sure.
Yeah,
maybe the
I like
answer's
it.
no.
Don't get me wrong. I like it.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
Like it works. I'm able to happily role play.
Fair enough. No strong feelings or requests.
Yeah, it's like
fair.
it's a well designed system. In that sometimes I feel like I am a Star Trek engineer and or security person, an operations person, as it were. We can do both.
but you are one, Peter.
Yeah, I know, but like not. But in the game, that's
Oh,
how I
in the
know
game
it
as
works.
well. Oh, right.
Yeah,
I see. You're
exactly.
right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so like so obviously I know precisely what I'm talking about because as everyone knows, I'm a Star Trek operation officer.
Yeah.
In real life, yeah.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
yeah. So like it's hitting the emotional experiences that I want to have, and the rules seem set up to support that. So there's nothing crashingly. There's no game breaking stuff. It's like it's well designed, and it seems like it's a good fit for our group. Except for Russ, who's miserable about everything at all times.
That is completely untrue.
Except
And
for dogs.
unfounded.
Except for dogs and Batman.
Dogs? Batman? No, there are other things I like. And Star Trek. I like Star Trek. You know I like Star Trek. I'm a big
I
Star
love
Trek
how there
fan.
was a big pause. There are other things I like.
There are other things I like.
Yeah.
There are
Give
many
me a
of them.
minute, I will think of some. Anyway.
Dogs, Batman, Star Trek and curry. And lager. Those are things that I like.
What a Friday evening.
He's got it all planned now.
Is that your Friday evening?
I mean, that is not a bad Friday evening,
Yeah.
I gotta say.
Watch some Star Trek with the dogs, have a curry and a drink. Way.
Yep.
All
That's
right.
all right to me.
All right.
Well, I'm going to have
Okay.
a wonderful evening. I'm going to sit and reread the adventure path on this again. So that's my thing. Anyway,
Anyway, that was Star Trek. Anyway, there is
I
there
look
is
forward
new
to
Star
hearing
Trek
more about
coming
that. It might be
later
worth
this
us
year.
having a little chat about it when it comes out because I'm intrigued.
Tweed.
But
Fair
Modiphius haven't just been talking about Star Trek, you know.
What else have they been doing?
They've been scheming. Scheming with the estate of author Sir Terry Pratchett
Wow.
for Brand the Discworld series. So there's a tabletop RPG coming to Kickstarter this year, Discworld Adventures in Ankh-Morpork. And I know there is already an RPG for Discworld. I don't think it's in print, but there was...
It's a really old GURPS one, I think
Yeah.
there was. I've never seen or played it or anything.
I know a lot of people
Yeah,
really
that's
like it, and it's got that silly ridiculousness to it. I think there's one where you make a D1000 roll or something to see if something happen, you know. So I think a lot of people... I've not played it, but I've seen people online because I was reading up on it, and a lot of people that have played the GURPS one are really happy with it and are a bit worried about this new kind of edition. I don't know much about it. Is it... I'm guessing it's using the Modiphius system for it?
Well,
or-
actually,
but we don't know.
They did they opened a discussion asking people what rule systems. They did a survey
Okay.
sort of aimed at Discworld fans, and they were asking people like what sort of rule systems they preferred. So maybe that's a hint that maybe it's not locked into 2G20. I don't know,
Interesting.
but who knows? Who knows?
I mean, it's
What do you think?
trying to support Discworld as a role playing game. That is quite an ask.
Mm.
Okay, so magic is something players generally want in an RPG. Magic in Discworld is deliberately, it's wild. It's just full on crazy. You maybe have wizards that shoot things out of their staff, but you also have the witches. You have to consider them. You've got the fae. You have to consider them. You also have to consider the fact that dragons cannot exist because there's not enough magic to go on. Yeah, you got golems as well. It's like werewolves, the whole 9 yards. There's a lot of stuff, and you've also got to support a wide variety of tones. You've got support investigation, because that's like, the Guards series of books. That's amazing. Like, to a lesser extent, I think The Witches as well, but like,
I guess it depends on how expansive the initial release is, though.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they do it
focus
by...
it in a bit, maybe, and then...
They do it by book, maybe.
Yeah.
So...
I don't know. I'm glad it's not my job, because it sounds like an absolute mare to try and implement.
Yeah, I think the humour side of it, and I think that's kind of the same with Monty Python, that although you can sort of write in the book, lean into the humour, and put lots of jokes in the rule book, the humour at the game table has to come from the players and the GM themselves, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
and it's very hard to do, because for some people, Dadaist humour, which is basically humour that comes from surreal and just like, oh, this is like the humour that comes from shouting fruit bat at people, is like fine, but it's not Terry Pratchett humour. Yeah. So
writing comedy is hard.
Writing comedy is super hard.
There's only a few of us geniuses that can do that.
Yes.
Yes, we've seen this week's sketch.
Writing comedy intentionally is very hard. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. It's I'll be interested to see what comes out, but
I'm very interested. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a huge Pratchett nerd. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of bigger Pratchett nerds than I, but I just really like the books. They're really good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever sat down and said to myself, yes, this would be improved by being a tabletop role-playing game.
I think a lot of people...
There's a lot of shows that I've seen that. I thought, oh yeah, I'll totally role-play this. Discworld, and certainly the movies have, like the Sky series and so forth. Oh, they've looked wrong.
So D&D 5e then. It'll be done in D&D 5e.
Don't, I was going to say that. As soon as you said they put the claw out, I was like, oh gosh. And everyone said, just do it in 5e.
Oh, well, there's obviously the alternative, which is empowered by the Apocalypse, because the creators of Apocalypse World...
I don't know if there's anything mechanically in Discworld that needs a specialist. It's the tone more than anything else.
Yeah.
The magic rules, I think.
Yeah. Because the humour doesn't come from the rules, does it? It comes from
No, that's true.
The situations and the settings and the characters.
I think the way magic is in the world doesn't work with the way magic is in 5e, in my mind. Like Peter was saying, like it's wild and unpredictable, and it's not. Yeah, whereas in
I don't know.
5e, magic is more controlled and precise, and you have I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing it. But I think, Peter, a lot of people show your apprehension, because I was having a scroll about on the internet where people talk about things.
They do.
And a lot of people are a bit apprehensive because they love, for exactly the same things you're saying, love the Discworld, and they're like, oh, I wonder how you do this well. That's a really difficult thing to do. But I'm excited about it, and I'll definitely have a look when it goes live. So I'm very interested.
Yeah. I know, and it's ridiculous. They'll do a good job. They do. I mean, yeah.
We love Star Trek, as we've mentioned.
Whatever else it is, it will be a nice pretty coffee table book that covers Discworld and would definitely be sort of something you can sit and browse through and enjoy, I reckon.
Yeah, if it's got a nice setting section on Mount Morpork and things, then...
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard one, but they do have a track record of implementing franchises to...
Modiphius does. They license a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And most of the time it proves popular.
Well, whilst we were saying that maybe 5e isn't the best fit for this, or I said that. Sorry, I don't want to say we. I don't want to put words in both of your mouths, but that's what I think. That gives me a segue to talk about Dungeons and Dragons.
Really?
We won't talk about VECNA, because we'll talk about that in a bit, because we'll talk about that later in more detail. But a little bit of news is D&D Beyond. They have done an update. So, their VTT maps feature that they have, that we talked about before. So they've done some updates on that. So they've updated the user interface. They've included different tokens, fog, and they're confirming that enhancement of support is coming.
I think they've done is they've added basic functionality to it, though.
Well,
all the stuff that they've added is kind of basic stuff that you expect from a VTT.
Well, it's there now. So
it's there now, yeah.
And in fairness, when it came up before, they were very transparent about what it was. They're like, it's literally just
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No,
they're
fair,
adding.
yeah. Okay, fair. It's a work in progress, and it was.
So they have added those features that Russ was expecting from the beginning there now, and and they've confirmed that they're continuing to support and do this. So I imagine this will be an evolving thing.
It's going to be really interesting to see how this relates to their 3D virtual tabletop. Like, they're going to have two. Yeah, we've talked about this before, haven't we?
Yeah.
They're going to have two virtual tabletops.
Well, I wonder if one will be free and one will be paid for. Which
Maybe,
is, like,
yeah.
fair enough. The one on the site is free and you can use it and it does all the standard things you'd want to. But if you want the really nice version, you have to pay for it, which
maybe.
is... Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. So what were they added? They've added a spectator mode. For It can be used either as a player view on a separate monitor in person. So if you, rather than a Chessex battle map or something, or with your streaming stuff. A spectator mode. They added a draw tool, freehand drawing on the map, which, kind of essential, I think, for this sort of thing.
Yeah.
A pointer. You can now rename tokens. It's all kind of, basic,
It's nothing new that any other VTT doesn't have. So it's not.
Yeah.
But
it's stuff it needed. Yeah.
But it's on the site, and I know some people are using it, and
Yeah. And there's also had some products from their back catalogue and some third-party content in there as well. Like, pre-made maps and things like that.
And they have said that they are open to third-party other people and in talks with people.
They say, and I think, and I quote, many third parties to the party.
Oh.
Interesting.
At the moment they've got like 3, haven't they?
I wonder who those many are and what the process is.
Who's going to get tipped with the golden scepter?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I would have thought normally, like, someone like Kerbal Press would be like first in line for that sort of thing because they're in Seattle, they all know each other and things like that. But I think because now they're doing their Black Flag stuff, I think maybe they've kind of positioned themselves in a place where they're probably not going to be working with Wizards so much anymore now.
Yeah. Do you think that's why they haven't approached us as well? Because of Level Up?
Yeah,
that's the reason. That's the
be.
reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not because they don't know who we are.
Yeah, I think what they're kind of doing is looking at the Kickstarter charts and just like looking at the $1 million 5e Kickstarters and approaching those people.
Yep.
Like Ghostwind and the Humble people and things
Ghostfire.
like that. Yeah, Ghostfire, sorry, not Ghostwind. Yeah. I think that's kind of the approach they're taking at the moment.
Yeah, just focusing on the most profitable things because more profits,
more
that's
money.
what they want.
Yeah.
Which does bring us, indeed. May you make it rain, Jessica. Well, may you make it
Thank
rain.
you.
But yeah, that does. If we may segue slightly.
Let's segue. I love a segue.
I hadn't realised you were such a fan of novel modes of transport.
I am.
But sadly, I note that Wizards of the Coast has stopped supporting Portuguese as a language for books.
Oh, not
Indeed.
like the country and the people of Portugal. They're like, no, we're against that. Just the language.
To be honest, and no offence to our Portuguese listeners, but I don't think it would have quite the same impact if they're like, no, we're not supporting Portugal anymore.
This is more about Brazil.
This is more about the very large, very
Brazil,
popular, thriving game market in Brazil.
Yeah.
Which was just goes like, nah, we're good. I was looking it up to find a supporting statement, and they only basically in like 2022 started supporting stuff in Brazil through Portuguese, and now they're stopping. So
I think there was some conversations about how do you price books in that market so it's accessible for people in the market, but then it's still, is the price globally, and there was the difficulty with that. But
what they said is that the Portuguese language product sales have not kept pace with rising costs across the board. Is the reason they gave.
Maybe from what and I don't know if this is just my perspective, but a lot of Brazilian TTRPGs, I think not everyone's as big into D&D. I think there's more variety. Because when I hear people talking about games, so maybe it's that there's a lot of TTRPG players, but they're not just all focused on D&D.
Yeah, it's like in Japan, it's Call of Cthulhu's the big one, and in Germany it's the Dark Eye, and it's not.
I think if I remember correctly, and this may just be me being wrong, but I remember that the biggest when we had, I think it was Little Red Dot on. They were talking about the Torment or something. The Tormentor.
Yeah. I recall that too.
The most popular stream in Portuguese. So yeah. So like English language streaming, it's fairly big, but that Portuguese language stream was noticeably more sizable. So
Yeah,
it's quite important.
I think it's like kind of important to realise that a lot of stuff goes on in languages other than English, which kind of aren't necessarily on our radar because we don't speak those languages, and those things are often big.
Yeah,
but just not in our particular little sphere that we're able to But I mean, they're still doing English, obviously French, German, Italian, and Japanese and Spanish.
Yeah. Those are like Spanish will reach the rest of South America, so, and Central America as well. So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, so, I mean, and Portuguese is still Fizban's Treasury, Journey to the Radiant Citadel, and Shadow of the Dragon Queen will all still be in Portuguese, but after that, that's when they stop.
Yeah, I mean, translation is something that's been very much on my mind lately, and I'm hoping to get a French version of Crafting Heritages and Cultures out there. I'm working with someone, but it's an expensive process, so I will be interested to see how it works, because I'm pretty sure we don't have anyone listening who would run a game in French over English.
I would not run a game in French.
I would not run a game in French.
I can speak a little bit of basic French.
I could certainly try, but it would not be a good game.
I know how to
good French.
I know how to go around France, find the library, and order food and drink, and that's my level.
Où est la bibliothèque? I remember my GCSE French.
Okay, let's
Dime-moi and sandwich.
Je m'appelle Jean-Claude.
That's not your name. That's the thing you should know. That's not the translation bit. Lord.
It's certainly a challenge, because there's like a bit of a funnel where you have to have someone who speaks French as a native speaker, speaks English to speak to, then knows TTRPGs really well. And then is prepared to translate them, and can also do things like help with the crowdfunding and kickstarting. So I do have a partner lined up, but
I think that's why a lot of TTRPGs licensed to a local publisher end up doing that, because it's because of all the things you just said.
We quite often get people contacting us saying, do we want their services to translate it into X country's language and so forth. But usually what they're offering is literally just to translate the words.
Yeah.
And unfortunately it does require completely relaying
lot,
out the book and everything. So basically what you need is a licensed partner who is actually able to publish an edition from start to finish in that country.
Yes.
Or in that language.
Yes.
So they need to be able to do the layout and the printing. They basically it just needs to be a license.
Publisher. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a translator you're looking for. It's a publisher who can translate for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good fun.
Which makes it an order of difficulty harder.
Yeah.
Certainly your options are very slim.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, I suppose if you're Wizard of the Coast, possibly not,
I imagine that's
they've
quite
got
popular,
resources far exceeding ours. So.
But then they can just spend billions of dollars, or probably not even billions of dollars, a couple of $100,000, and that will get you going quite happily.
Well, they brought a lot of their translation in-house, didn't they? A year or two ago. Because I remember there was some complaints about some translation licenses being cancelled. I can't remember where now. Was it Germany or somewhere? I can't remember where. Or was it France? I can't remember where.
I could really tell you.
It was somewhere in Europe, though. And it transpired that they're bringing the translation in-house rather than licensing them out. Which, if you're a size of Wizards, you've probably you've got the resources to do that.
Yeah. But certainly intimidating for smaller publishers. But I think worth doing.
No more Portuguese D&D is the upshot of that.
Sad times. Speaking of D&D, Gary Gygax.
Breaking news, Gary Gygax.
He's related to D&D, I'm not sure if you're right. But no, so Luke Gygax.
Luke Gygax, yeah.
Yes.
Is also with Alphinius. Is it Alphinius or Alphinus?
Alphinius Goo.
It is Alphinius, okay. Alphinius Goo. So they are announcing a box set adventure in tribute to Gary, which is the Tomb of Guys and Gax.
Guys and Gax, yes.
Because I said Guys and Gax.
Guys and Gax, I got to, yeah.
Is
I don't know. It's a fantasy word.
Exactly. So before, because I'm dyslexic, and also there's fancy words. So when I was recording This Week in Tabletop to RPG this morning, I went online because when I don't know a word, I'm like, oh, luckily I can go online and I'll listen to a video of someone saying it. Brilliant. There were 3 different ways, loads of different people said it in senior positions in RPGs that should know, and so I've just gone with Guys and Gags.
I think the only people who would know are, in fact, Luke Gygax and Phineas Goo, who would know for sure.
I didn't find a video of Luke saying the word. That's originally what I looked for, but I could not find that. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically Gygax with Zane in the middle. Zaen stuck in the middle.
Yeah, that's why. But anyway, it's currently live on Kickstarter, is what I was trying to get the point to say.
Yes.
However you pronounce it.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, so that's quite so it's a box set for that, and that's quite a classic. I think it's got a lot of the classic tropes in it. I haven't had a look at the Kickstarter page and full backed it yet, but yeah.
What it basically is, it's kind of a tribute to not just Gary Gygax, who is obviously Luke Gygax's dad, or was Luke Gygax's dad, passed away, some years ago, but also to a lot of D&D's legacy of creators. So what we got here is an adventure and a setting. I'm not sure. I mean, it's about searching for what happened to the great wizard Garald Gysengax. Not Gary Gygax at all. I don't know why. I don't know whether that's a sort of IP licensing thing, because I know there have been disputes with Gail Gygax, who is Gary Gygax's late wife, about the rights to use the name, even though Gygax is in fact Luke's last name. So I don't know if that's anything to do with it, or whether they just thought Gary Gygax is too on the nose. Garald Gysengax is a bit more fantasy. I don't know why
It's called
fun. That. Oh, it's just a bit of fun, yeah. So basically, this great wizard, Garald Gysengax, disappeared. There's a tomb of Gysengax, and in the adventure you go into it and you can encounter the ghost of Garald Gysengax. It's old school, traps, riddles, dungeon crawling, that sort of thing. Lots and lots of Easter eggs and nods to D&D's history, loads of NPCs which are based on D&D's historical creators, people like Ed Greenwood and Tim Kask and Errol Otis and Peter Atkinson and people like that, are all in there with kind of sort of illustrated versions of them as various NPCs. So it's very much it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, as far as I can make it out. It's it's not a 100% serious thing. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek, Easter eggs, a few jokes, old school. And it's doing really, 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 really well. It's done over $250,000 already.
Oh, nice. I haven't actually looked at the campaign. I just saw it was out, and I know...
Yeah.
I know many people...
And it's not cheap. There is that. So,
the digital edition is $55.
Well, that's just the adventure. So there's an adventure and a campaign setting. So digital editions, the adventure, the PDF is $55 and the setting is $135. And then if you want them both, it's $185. So $185 for the digital version of this. What they're doing here, it looks like, they're just not, the physical is $200 and the digital is $185. They're just not discounting the digital all that much off the physical.
Interesting.
It looks like their pricing strategy here. Because the physical, it comes with a lot of stuff. There's cards and books and handouts and poster maps and there's a box full of stuff.
It looks like as a result not many people are getting the digital only. The majority of people are getting
well, if you're only paying an extra $15 or so, you might as well, I suppose.
That's why I see why everyone's got that.
It looks pretty cool. It's for 5e, it's for old school essentials, and they say and similar systems.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does it have a level range?
Yeah. So, this is interesting. They call it a mega adventure.
Oh, yes, yeah.
But the adventure is 60 pages. Yeah, 60 pages, and for 6th to 8th level characters. So, mega adventure is maybe a strong term, I think, it's an adventure.
Yeah. I mean, it's fairly long from
the set is mega. It's a mega set containing an adventure and other things, I think.
I mean, often an adventure, for practical purposes, is like a little vignette as part of a, set for 8th level characters, say. And it's there's no guarantee of leveling up. Whereas it sounds like this. So, it's definitely an adventure, but yes, probably mega adventure, maybe it was selling it,
Yeah, I think the mega part. I think mega is appropriate when applied to the entire box set and all the stuff you get in there, though.
It does sound pretty mega.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Yes. Tomb of Gysengax.
Yes, Shall we talk about something that isn't D&D?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, that was a little too enthusiastic of me, Peter. Yes, please carry on.
Yes, our good friends at Shades of Vengeance are doing a Kickstarter. You remember Ed Jarrett, don't you, Russ?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's produced Error Kaiju, which uses a default dice system to let you be a Godzilla-like monster as you rampage around causing trouble. So yeah, that's pretty fun.
That does sound like something I would do.
I mean, I could definitely see the attraction for it. So yeah, let me whack a link in the show notes so you can have a look.
I've always wanted to be a Godzilla-like monster.
I mean, I can think of worse ways to spend the Friday night.
We all know the ideal is Star Trek curry and dogs, but there we go.
I can think of better ways to spend it. Yes. Okay.
Have we discovered something else that Russ enjoys? Amazing.
I've never tried it, to be fair. I mean, I just imagine being a Godzilla-like kaiju monster would be fun, but, until I've actually tried it, I can't say for certain.
I mean, I gotta say, like, fair play to it. It's going great guns, nearly £2,000, 16 days to go. Yeah, it's...
Nice.
Yeah, you get a lot of monster. There's lots like. It's got a light version as well, pocket rulebook. Big fan of the error system. And, because, I mean, can you ever have enough D10 dice pool systems?
No, I like a D10.
If you had seven might be enough.
Do you know, I like a D10. I do also like a D12, though.
D12's the best one. I like the D12. There's something satisfying about the shape of a D12 to me.
Wow.
And the heft of a D12.
If you like a D12, let me tell you, there's a playtest you can get yourself involved in.
Oh, really?
So, Critical Role, so Darrington Press, that's the publishing arm of Critical Role, they're opening playtests for Dagger Heart, which is the RPG that they're releasing next year in 2025. They're starting playtests for it on March the 12th of this year. Yeah, so the game uses cards and 2 D12s.
Yeah, one D12 represents hope and one represents fear.
Yes,
apparently.
the duality of hope and fear. So if you're interested in playtesting and having a look at that, you can sign up for that, and it's starting on March the 12th. So
yeah.
I'm intrigued. I'll have a little look at that because I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah,
but this is not to be confused by Dagger in the Heart, which is live on Kickstarter at the moment by the folks who bought us the Die RPG.
Oh, Kieran Gillen and that lot.
Yes. Was it Rowan, Rick and Deckard?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so not necessarily Kieran Gillen, but yeah. Rowan, Rick and Deckard. The British.
Yeah. No, this is not that. This is Dagger Heart from Critical Role.
Yes, but I just, because I saw that Kickstarter and somebody mentioned, they're like, oh, and I was like, it's a different thing. They're both RPGs and they both feature daggers and hearts, but
yeah, we have had that problem with naming the Kickstarters because there was Tales of the Valiant GM Guide and the Valiant Superhero RPG, both of which were attempting to fund at the same time.
Yeah.
So I hope there weren't people too confused.
But Dagger in the Heart is also live on BackerKit, not Kickstarter, I apologise.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's a different platform then. So
different platform. Yeah. But yeah, that's live currently and doing very well. They've almost reached 100,000 Great British pounds nearly.
But sticking on Dagger Heart for the moment.
Yeah, go back to Dagger Heart, not Dagger in the Heart, yeah. Just to confuse it,
Stay on target.
So difficult. Okay, sorry.
What's that shiny thing? Where?
So it's coming out 2025. Is Dagger Heart.
Yes.
Nice.
A lot of people have been touting this as a D&D killer or a D&D rival. I don't think it's going to be that, but I think it's going to be, fairly
it's a fantasy RPG, so I get why the comparison's there.
Yeah, and it's very different to D&D in terms of mechanics and stuff. It's not, it's not a spin on that.
I mean, indie creators will compare literally anything to D&D, and I find that very strange.
There's no such thing in the industry as a viable D&D competitor, really, at all.
No.
And this probably won't be one either, but that's not the point. It doesn't have to compete with D&D, it just has to do well for itself.
Yeah, it can be very successful in its own terms.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just got to view D&D as being separate to the industry almost in a way when you think about this sort of thing, because it's almost not relevant to what you're doing because you can't affect it in any way, and you can't,
Well, I mean, it's relevant, but you still have to keep an eye on it. It's like, there you are sailing along in your little yacht. We all live near Southampton, so...
and then the Titanic steams past.
Yeah, or a cruise ship, or a container ship. And there you are, out in the middle of the sun going, oh dear, I'd best keep an eye on that. There might be a bit of... the sea might get a bit choppy.
Yeah.
As an enormous thing goes past you. and you want to avoid stalling out directly in its path. Anyway, don't go over you and won't even notice.
So just looking at this game system, though, I don't know much about it, and I think you can actually. I think there is more information about it out there that you can look at, but this is just kind of what's easily able to find. So you got 2 d12s, and one's called the Hope die, and one's called the Fear die.
Oh yeah.
And then in addition to these dice, you have cards, and you have ancestry and community cards, which, as far as I can make out, are basically heritage and culture.
Okay.
And then you have subclass and domain cards, which look like class and maybe archetype of some kind, sort of. These are analogies, obviously. They're not. They're not those things because it's not D&D. But that's kind of how I'm reading that. But I guess we'll find out literally on Tuesday, March the 12th. That's 2 weeks away.
Sweet.
We'll find out for sure.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay, what else we got?
Have either of you I played about 10 years ago, the Pathfinder card game that was like an adventure card game. Because I really enjoyed that, and I played that.
That was a good one, actually. Yeah.
There is a new Pathfinder cooperative deck building game coming out. So Catalyst Game Labs and Paizo are creating a game called Runefire. I don't have a lot of details about it, but it's a cooperative deck building game. It's based on Pathfinder again, so in that setting and world. And they're doing a crowdfunding campaign this year. So I was intrigued by that because I really liked the previous Pathfinder. What was it called? Is it adventure card game or?
I couldn't tell you.
It was like a decade ago. I played it, but you had your character and
there was like little. You could go in different directions, and they had it set out so that you try and recover something from a deck.
Yeah. Because
you knew the card you were after was in that deck, and you were overcoming challenges and obstacles.
Exactly.
At the same time, while there was a bigger deck that was also running down a clock.
Yeah.
So it actually did something that's very hard, which is it made splitting up essential, which is sort of the antithesis of role-playing games in general, giving the spotlight to individual players, but also made it so that you still had to work together and benefit that way. Which, I was very impressed by it. Yeah. They did have a lot of the feel of a role-playing game. So
absolutely did, because you also improved your character over time and brought your character back and your deck back and things. So I'm intrigued by this one as well, because I've been impressed by Pathfinder deck building games in the past. So I will be taking a look at Runefire when it comes out.
Okay. Can I ask a really stupid question? What's a deck building game?
That's not.
I know it's a stupid question. I know it's like everybody should know that.
But I'm going to jump in and say that's not a stupid question at all. So it's a type of board game where you have I'm trying to think of a good immediate definition. Peter might be better at this than me, but so you have a deck of cards that are yours, and on your turn, generally you'll play some of those cards to do abilities and things, and over time you'll get more cards that go into your deck, and so you cycle through your deck that way, and you're building it. So you're building your deck up, so you're adding things to your deck of cards that you can use to do things. Is that
okay?
So Magic, would you say that's a deck builder? Because there is an element of building the deck in the first place, but I don't feel it's quite what you're describing, because you're acquiring. It's like Magic. It's like a deck of Magic cards which you're acquiring cards in play. Is that fair?
Have you played Dominion? That is like the first.
When we played that board game, and there was Silk and iron and stuff.
That had elements similar to a deck builder,
Okay. That was.
I wouldn't describe it as a deck. Well,
it's got elements of it. But yeah.
If you want to play a specific sort of game.
One of my favourite deck builders, Tyrants of the Underdark has a deck building element in it as well as area control. So I like that. And I also like, I'm just trying to find it because I've forgotten the name of it. Is it called Arctic Scavengers? That is a lovely deck builder I have as well.
Yes. Right, more news.
Yes, well, in more somber news, I put a link in the chat that you can have a look at, which is for Casey Stevens, who is obviously still in a battle with cancer, has moved on to requiring radiation therapy.
Yep.
As they live in the States, then Owen needs money, basically, to help pay for this. And so he's got a GoFundMe going. So it's going well, like 38,000 of 150,000 that I thought I would
Yeah.
Spread the word.
Yeah. So, if you've ever played Pathfinder or any of Green Ronin stuff so much stuff. Like, there's no point even starting to this because Owen has been around for like 20 plus years in the industry and has his footprints on so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you almost, if you've played RPGs, you have probably touched on something that Owen has worked on.
Mm-hmm.
People say like a veteran designer, but he's like he's one of those people that is going. You're gonna.
He's done a lot of seminal work in the field.
Yeah.
So if you're able to donate to that would be
absolutely,
great.
Yeah. We found out about his diagnosis a year ago or so. I think it was now. It feels like a year, and he's been battling cancer for a while now. So
yeah, and I mean, if you do fancy it, then Samurai Sheepdog Games has like a book of boss encounters. So if you would like to donate that way rather than giving directly, it's very possible to do so, and that will all the proceeds of that go to Owen.
Yeah, so, Owen also has a Patreon and other things as well. So if you want to, support him in those ways, you can also do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that is all the news.
I think it's done on the news. Okay.
Does anyone have any more news?
There's a decent, solid news section there, actually.
I know this week had stuff, which was nice compared to last week, which was really
less.
like 2 books came out. I was like, oh my gosh.
Fewer stuffs.
Did you hear? The great Archlich, Skolor, has arisen again and seeks to crush the multiverse.
Again? Didn't we just defeat that foul fiend, a year ago?
Aye, not for the first time. Don't forget how he ended his foul schemes back in the Year of the Duck.
Yeah, he just keeps popping up.
Oh, like a foul smell.
We must end him this time, once and for all.
Oh, indeed. Lest he return again to darken our days anew.
Oh, bit fancy there, friend Rogue.
Just trying to add a little gravitas to the situation.
Gravitas?
Yeah, when you are tossed asunder by whimsical forces.
I don't think that's right, but yeah, never mind. So what are we going to do about Skolor?
Why do all these villains have such dumb names?
Oh, I know, right? Skolor? Bit on the nose. Am I right?
If he even had a nose. I'm so funny.
Oh, good one, friend wizard.
I think that's it.
Well, you think what's it?
The nose of Skolor.
No, we just established he doesn't have a nose.
Oh, that's the whole point. Have you never heard the legend?
Oh, yes. The Nose of Skolor, a powerful artifact. It has been sought by brave adventurers for centuries.
If we can find the Nose of Skolor, we will finally be able to defeat him once and for all.
Why? What does it do?
Well, it grants the wearer powerful abilities.
Wait. Hang on, what did you say?
Powerful abilities?
No, before that.
Sought by brave adventurers.
No, after that.
Grants its wearer?
Yeah, that bit. It grants its wearer?
Oh, yes. Well, one must wear the Nose of Skolor in order to use its magic.
Huh? And how does one wear the Nose of Skolor?
Well, legend has it that you must cut off your own nose and wear this one in its place.
What? Ew.
I'm not doing that.
Walking around with the rotting nose of a lich strapped to your face? No, thank you.
What special powers does it grant you anyway?
I'm not sure. I think it grants you supernatural senses.
What? So you can smell him coming?
Yeah, something like that.
No. We are not seeking out the Nose of Skolor.
Fine. I think there are other options.
Oh, good. Tell us the other options, my friend.
Well, there's the toe of Skolor.
Which does, what?
Okay, well, you have to cut off your own toe and graft this one in its place.
Right.
And it renders you immune to stubbing damage.
stubbing damage.
Yeah, you know when you stub your toe.
How does that help?
Well, every little helps, my friend. Everybody knows that.
Oh, no. What else is there?
Okay, the appendix of Skolor.
Ah, yeah. Which does what?
Oh, well, it's absolutely nothing.
Figures.
Are they all body parts?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Do we have a plan which doesn't involve hunting down and recovering the long-lost body part of an evil undead supervillain and then grafting it in place of one of our own?
No. I mean, this guy is pretty body part themed heavy.
Who writes this stuff?
Isn't there just some ancient ritual that we can use to banish him?
Yeah, or some weapon we can use against him.
Preferably one which doesn't involve seeking out his armpit.
The armpit of Skolor? Oh, I've not heard of that one.
Yeah, because I just made it up.
I mean, I studied the legends of Skolor back in wizard school. But the armpit was never mentioned.
There is no armpit.
Oh, I dread to think what terrible powers it might possess.
I mean, it must be powerful to be kept so secret. Oh.
Look, it was just a rhetorical flourish for the sake of illustration.
Well, I think it's decided.
Yes, I mean, we shall seek out the armpit of Skolor and use its dreaded powers to defeat him once and for all.
Oh no, what have I done?
You pointed us towards victory, my friend.
We shall be forever in your debt.
As will the world.
Indeed, the entire multiverse.
Look, there is no armpit of Skolor.
Wait, do you not want us to find the armpit of Skolor?
What? No, look.
Yeah, why are you trying to dissuade us?
Has he gotten to you?
Oh, come on. He hasn't gotten to me. I'm just trying to say that there is no armpit of Skolor.
Which is exactly what you would say if you were in league with the Lich.
I'm not in league with the Lich.
Well then, tell us where the armpit is.
There's no friggin' armpit.
That's it. There's definitely something fishy going on here.
Hey, what's wrong with your nose?
My nose?
Yeah, it looks lichy.
Litchy? Look, that is just my nose.
Or is it?
Well, I put it to you, my devious companion, that you are not who you say you are.
Indeed, you had us fooled for many a year.
But now we see through your foul deception.
Oh, this is just ridiculous.
There's only one way to prove your innocence.
Fine. What is it?
Show us your toe.
Malak the Maleficent here. If, like me, you're enjoying this podcast, please consider subscribing on Patreon for exclusive bonus content every week and the warm, fuzzy feeling of knowing you are helping to keep the show going. Subscribe at patreon.com/Morrus. There, I said it. Can you stop staring at me like that now? The things I do. All right. Don't forget, patreon.com/Morrus. Can I go now?
Right. So today we're going to talk about a wizard.
Wizard?
Of sorts.
I was about to say, is that wizard the correct terminology? Actually?
Well, he's like an undead god wizard.
Not a lich?
Oh, a lich is a type of wizard.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Let me just put my glasses on so I look more...
Wizardly?
Nailing that librarian vibe.
Sorry, they're quite dirty. They're the wrong prescription as well. I need to get my eyes tested. But I refuse.
Specsavers.
I refuse. For some reason.
Yeah. Well, there was a big old info dump about the upcoming VECNA Eve of Ruin adventure.
Yeah, there is a 19-minute long video, should people wish to review it, which is linked on
if
the
you
EN
wish to
World.
read that, yeah.
How long is it?
19 minutes.
Oh, I thought you said
You thought
90.
you said 90. Yeah.
I did.
Oh, no.
Horror.
No.
They've remade the D&D movie pretty much featuring Vecna.
Featureless advertisement.
Well, it's
Good
not even
Lord.
featuring Vecna, it was just talking about Vecna.
Yeah, there's a picture of him.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so, Vecna Eve of Ruin, it's coming out like at the end of May, May the 31st. And it's a big old high-level adventure for levels 10 to 20. So I thought what we could do is go a little bit into who Vecna is and then talk about the information about the actual adventure.
Wow.
Sound like a plan that you could get on board with?
That does sound good. He is featured in Stranger Things, I understand.
Is that possibly the best way you could think of spending your afternoon?
No.
No. The best way, of course, is Batman, Star Trek, curry, and dogs.
That wouldn't be mine, I think.
No?
No.
Would dogs be featured in it at all?
Yes.
Yes, there you go. So it's partly yours.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get into this.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so, Vecna. So, who is Vecna? Are you two familiar with Vecna? I don't know how far back your D&D lore goes.
I don't know about his D&D lore. I was introduced to it via Stranger Things, because they were playing the Vecna campaign and then made the baddie in Stranger Things. They nicknamed him that.
Yeah.
And yeah, all I know of it is what little I know of those stories and the lore, that he's a powerful evil lich and something about his eyeball.
Yeah, I mean, and hand. I think I came across it when I was introduced to the fabled magic item, the Head of Vecna. And yes, it's where you cut off your head and replace it with Vecna's.
Okay.
This is an old joke which featured in I can't remember when it was.
The dinner table, maybe?
It was Mark Stewart, featured in the campaign by, according to Wikipedia, run by Mark Stewart. And it was a hoax artifact in that game. Yeah,
I mean, the obvious thing being that if you cut off your own head, you're not going to survive this process to then be able to acquire...
Put on Vecna's head.
Yeah. So I'm like, this is incredibly stupid. What is this? And then, I found out a bit more about it from that. I'm like,
yeah. I mean, to give that some context, part of the whole Vecna thing is you can cut off Vecna's hand. Not cut off Vecna's hand. You can cut off your hand and put Vecna's hand in its place, and you can gouge out your eye and put in Vecna's eye in its place. And the hand and the eye of Vecna are two artifacts in D&D, basically.
Yeah. Spoilers for Baldur's Gate. You can do something a little bit similar there too. Not with Vecna, but anyway.
Yeah, and there's and then you got the Tomb of Annihilation, where Vecna is a big baddie, and I think he also has a tomb. I said Tomb of Annihilation. I mean, what's the Tomb of Annihilation? What's the one? The Tomb of Horrors. There we go.
That's not Vecna. That's one of Vecna's lieutenants, Acerarak or Acerarak. Acerarak. I'm never sure.
That's right.
A Solariac, you say?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. A Solariac has seen in Ready Player One, where people were banging on about it. I'm like, I don't understand the reference.
As one of Vecna's allies, but not Vecna. No, that's not Vecna. But so Vecna, like when the original hints at Vecna was literally just the hand and eye of Vecna, which appeared sort of in the original Dungeons and Dragons rules.
Okay.
There was no description of Vecna himself or anything like that, but the two artifacts were in the rules. And that was kind of all it was. And even Gary Gygax said, later, that at the time, they were created by Brian Bloom and put into the rules back then in 1976 or whatever. Said even Gary Gygax, didn't know any more about Vecna and all this sort of stuff at the time.
Operation on need to know basis. I like it.
Yeah. And then they appeared in the first edition DMG as artifacts.
Yep.
Where it was basically mentioned that they were they came from a long destroyed legendary lich of great power. But that was kind of about all you knew. You didn't know much more than that. Okay. It wasn't until second edition that Vecna really got more of a sort of deep dive. Because there was an adventure called Vecna Lives.
Oh.
And this is, I think, the 80s, maybe the early 90s, somewhere around then. Vecna's history kind of got expanded, told for the first time, I guess, in this.
Yeah.
And Vecna, I think, was probably the first time Vecna ever appeared in person in an adventure in in a D&D thing. I mean, I might be wrong. Someone's going to write in and tell me I'm wrong now, but
No.
in my memory,
we're not
that
going
was...
to contradict you. So.
Yeah, I will not be that person. So you carry on.
Yeah, and he at this point is now a demigod, not just an old lich.
Right.
Because Vecna keeps getting promoted throughout all these things. I mean, not promoted, but in each edition he seems to be something bigger.
He's got a steady career trajectory.
What a girl boss! Love that. For him.
And then
CEO of Lich Code.
So at the end of that, the PCs defeat him, and he ends up in Ravenloft.
Or did
Ravenloft
they?
campaign setting, and has a domain of his own. Yeah, and then throughout the 90s or so, there wasn't much more Vecna or anything until there was like the Ravenloft boxed set where he was mentioned as having being a Dark Lord and having a domain of his own.
Nice.
And then I think it was like just before 3rd edition. This would have been like the dying gasp of 2nd edition, and Wizards of the Coast had D&D by then.
Mm-hmm.
It was right at the end, and there was an adventure called Die Vecna Die.
Okay.
There's a 3-part adventure.
Yeah.
And at this point, Vecna is not a demigod. He's now a lesser god. He's promoted now to a lesser god.
Oh.
Yeah, so he appears again in that. This is literally, and then they move into 3rd edition, where in the player's handbook, he's a lesser deity, and becomes part of the core pantheon. In the actual, it's the first time he's actually part of the core pantheon as the god of secrets in the in the actual player's handbook.
Okay.
Do you think he always was the god of secrets, but he didn't want to let people know? He just kept that under wraps.
Yeah, they kept it under wraps.
That makes sense.
I mean, he wouldn't be much of a god of secrets if he was going around telling everyone the truth now, would he?
Exactly.
Yeah. Then 4th edition, he's in there as the god of secrets in the DMG. 5th edition, I believe he's in the Dungeon Master's Guide as part of one of the pantheons.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure. He's one of the deities of Greyhawk in the player's handbook, for sure. I know that. And at this point, he is now just the god of secrets, god of evil secrets. It's not even just a lesser god at this point. He's now the god of evil secrets.
Oh, evil secrets. I mean, that sounds like a demotion to me. Because
more of a narrow remit.
Yeah. Presumably someone's a god of good secrets. And that's just money left on the table as far as
very specific. Very specific.
Maybe there was just an organisational restructuring, maybe.
One could argue, is a secret good or evil? Because it's just information, really, isn't it? It's what you do with the secret that's good or evil, surely.
Yeah, you could keep secrets for good. Like a secret Santa.
Yeah, but the secret itself isn't good. The secret is what you're doing with it. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway,
that is an interesting thing. And maybe a topic for another time.
Yeah.
Is it a TTRPG topic? I don't know, but interesting anyway.
I mean, just very briefly to address it,
Okay.
The basis of cosmic horror is that there is knowledge which is too dangerous for people to know, and that will, wreck your brain and eat holes in reality. That's pretty common, secrets that will drive you mad. So that will be information which is too dangerous to know. So, anyway. We're getting very much off topic.
But does Vecna know those secrets?
Yes.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And that's why he's mad. Look at him.
Is he not on the front of the DMG? Yeah.
Is that Vecna on the front?
I thought it was.
Oh, it might be.
Yeah,
yeah, it probably is, yeah. Anyway.
Author of the Book of Vile Darkness, apparently.
Yeah.
As I have a look at my DMG.
But the reason he is missing his eye in his hand is because his chief lieutenant, Cass, K-A-S, Vecna made a sword for him.
That's nice.
And then Cass betrayed him and used his sword to chop off his hand and chop out his eye.
Wow. Chop out the eye with a sword?
Yes.
Oh. That must be a high-deck skill, because I'd have thought spoon would be better.
Well, yeah.
The spoon of Cass is a lesser known artifact.
Not for the hand. Sword to cut off the hand. Yes, correct.
The sword
lightsaber
and
also
spoon
acceptable.
of Cass. Yeah. No, that would just burn it.
Why spoon? Because it hurts more.
Yes, there we go. Thank you, Peter. Peter was there.
You're welcome.
You know, the Sword of Cass in 3rd edition was a +6 unholy keen Vorpal longsword, which also gave you +10 strength.
I +10 strength.
Really?
Wait, which edition was this?
3rd edition.
Oh,
So it's not
Wow.
the same as plus 10 strength in 5th edition.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's still a lot. It's still big. Don't get me
Yeah.
I
wrong.
was about to say, I want that for my current fighter, because that sounds...
Yeah.
Yes.
And for all the listeners who were furiously writing in, both of you, to complain that it's actually Asarak, if you're a hardcore D&D purist, you're probably not listening to this podcast, I've got to say, unless you have an excellent sense of humour about it. But it's actually Asarak in front of the DMG. So
Oh, is
I
it?
apologise. That was me. I was wrong. Sorry.
I
Misleading
mean,
I can't tell them apart, man. They're like it's all
a lich is a lich.
All
Lich is a
liches
lich.
look the same to Peter, that's what we found.
Yeah, great match.
What does that say about you? Anyway, let's get back to talking about Vecna.
Yeah.
So
My lich has
There's
no
one way you
nose.
can
How do
tell.
they smell? Awful. Sorry.
The one on the front of the DMG, does it have an eye and a hand? Oh no, does it have? It does have an eye and a hand. Does it have 2 eyes and 2 hands?
it looks like there are prosthetic replacements in the images from the video we
that's
saw, because there is a glowing eye that is different from the other ones, so I assume that's some sort of replacement. And there is a hand, but it is glowing and looks maybe like there's an attachment to
It's
it.
spectral.
So it looks like there's a prosthetic replacement that Vecna has got.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's nice. Bit of disability, right?
Yeah, so that's who Vecna is.
Yep.
Big, major D&D arch villain who's shown up various times and has been mentioned in various core rule books.
Yes.
So he's
Going back to the
basically a
1970s.
gold. Yeah.
Yes, and I think that's
Golden
why they wanted him to be in this edition, because they said they were very aware this was like a 50th. It's been 50 years of D&D, so they wanted to look back at stuff. So they wanted to have old villains and like make it be a bit of a love letter to D&D. And I think that's nice, especially because a lot of new people have come into 5th edition, and I also don't know a lot of the lore of D&D. So I think it's nice for old fans of D&D because it's like a nice Easter egg, like, oh look, we know that, and also it's a nice introduction for people that are new to it.
Yeah, so this adventure is like multiverse spanning, and Vecna's trying to remake the entire multiverse
in his image of how he sees it fit.
in that sort of thing that Vecna types do, that megalomaniac evil supervillain kind of plot. Yeah, so the adventure like goes through lots of different campaign settings and planes. Well, 7 specifically different campaign settings and planes. Sort of like it's kind of like a whistle-stop tour of D&D's history in a way.
Yeah.
So it kind of like touches on a whole bunch of like Easter egg filled stuff. So like Strahd's in it, and Lord Soth is in it, and you know, Tiamat's mentioned, but I don't think he's actually in it. And Tasha's in it, and Mordenkainen's in it, and Illustrial Silverhand's in it.
And Tasha's in it.
Yeah, and they go to Eberron, and they go to Dragonlance, and they go to you know, all these different campaign worlds and planes and things. So it's so it's kind of a tour of D&D's history, you know. Yeah.
Nice
they go to
little-
Planescape, Spelljammer, Eberron, Ravenloft, Dragonlance, and Greyhawk, apparently, and the Forgotten Realms.
Yeah. Oh, a nice little tour of memory lane. Like
Yeah,
little,
pretty much.
like a little D&D ride.
Yeah, it's like a D&D roller coaster.
Yeah.
And Tiamat is mentioned,
No.
but
I don't know if
apparently
it'd be a
there's not an
roller coaster.
encounter with them
No,
in the adventure part.
No.
So
Well, she's had her own book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
only
that's
for
probably
Muslim
why. But
Yeah.
apparently she's
So-
involved as well.
So this adventure, it's a high level adventure.
Yes. 10 to 20, you said, which is...
The premise
impressive.
basically is Illustrial Silverhand. This isn't a spoiler, this is like the premise. Illustrial Silverhand, famous Forgotten Realms mega
Wizard.
Wizard, has realised something's going wrong and that Vecna's up to something. And she calls in Tasha and Mordenkainen,
Okay.
and they get together to try and figure out what's happening. And they meet up in Sigil, in the Planescape setting,
Okay.
and get together to try and work out what's going on. And they work out that Vecna's like got nefarious plots afoot.
No.
And so they cast a big old wish spell to solve the problem.
Nice.
But the results of the wish spell are that the PCs show up. And the PCs are in some way the ones fated to confront Vecna.
Right. Okay.
Only you can
sounds
save
like-
the galaxy.
Sounds like a cop-out by the GM to me. Right.
Yeah. So at that point, the PCs are 10th level. Presumably by the time they actually confront Vecna, I assume they'll be 20th.
So you would have had some adventuring under your belts at that point. So you would be at 10th level. You've done some things. So people will be like, "Oh, you
You've
are the
seen some
heroes
stuff.
who did save the kitten out the tree or whatever you've done."
Yeah, I mean, like my 10th level party of adventurers in my Thursday night game finally killed Siroth, the Red Dragon, last night.
That's
Hey.
yes. Congratulations to them.
After 2 years of play.
Seraph is a red dragon.
And so now they have saved the kingdom.
Yeah.
Or have they?
Yeah.
For now. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, so apparently this whole thing, because Vecna's like the god of secrets and stuff,
Yes, yeah.
there's like the power of secrets is a theme throughout this, and there's apparently a subsystem for using the power of secrets during combat. Don't know what that means. Who knows?
Intriguing.
Could mean anything.
Well, Wizards of the Coast probably know.
Probably. Or do that? Is it being kept secret even from them?
Well, I did say probably.
Operating on need-to-know basis.
Yeah. Maybe nobody knows, apart from one writer.
And they're not telling.
And maybe that writer has now forgotten.
Oh, that must be why it's set in the Forgotten Realms.
Yes. Yeah, he totally forgot about the realms, and now
they've forgotten the secret as well. That's the problem.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure it's a very well written adventure. Quite hard, I imagine, to make it all work.
Especially level 10 to level 20, because doing high level adventures really hard.
But it needs doing. There isn't enough, high level adventure stuff out there, and it I think creates a vicious circle kind of situation where people don't play high level because there isn't high level stuff out there, and there isn't high level stuff out there because people don't play it.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of people, I've seen them online saying, "Oh, you just have to use your imagination," and that's certainly a thing you can say.
High level adventures are hard to do because
there's a lot of options on the table.
Yeah, there's a lot of dials and levers, and players can do a lot of things that So
especially in A5e as well, because so many things.
Well, one of the design goals of A5e was to sort of reduce the save or die spells. But I mean, honestly, it's a different game after you get past 10th level.
Yeah.
Like the level 6 spells just work on a different logic. I don't know what that logic is, but certainly I'm looking forward to running and playing more high level A5e, obviously, but that will hope to give you an insight in how to make it more accessible for other people.
Yeah,
that's one of my goals for 2024.
Folks, that is your contractually obliged infomercial for A5e inserted into the conversation.
You can remove it if you want, but I'm just... Yeah. It's the same in D&D. When you get to high level, like, players can do so many things, and I think you as the GM, like, they will... I mean, I think anyone running games, your players will always solve a situation in a way you didn't think of, because that's the beauty of role-playing games.
Yeah.
But I think there's so many more ways to solve it the higher you go. And sometimes it can be too obvious. They're like, well, I'll just do this. And you're like, that works. Okay, there's 2 hours worth of prep gone, right?
It needs like a little bit of, like Larian, as I was saying, they are like, we can't really have much of the game past level 12 because we don't know how to fix it. So, it does rely a lot upon GM's ingenuity. So, I mean, that's
what other ones have they done? The Dungeon of the Mad Mage.
Yep. Rise, the Rise of the Dragon Queen campaign. I can't remember if I've got that quite right. Horde of the Dragon Queen, Rise of Tiamat. That finishes at level 16 or thereabouts.
Which was the one that had a jump recently?
No, I know the one you're talking about. They played 1 to 5 and they jumped like
Planescape.
Yes.
Planescape had a jump.
I imagine that's a temporary boost and back down, so you get some. I imagine is what that was.
Is it?
I thought it.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, I thought it was a time jump. I don't know. I literally don't know.
That's what I mean. So you're kind of you go to the future when you're high level, so your characters go back to what they were before. I think is.
Oh,
I could be wrong. I haven't played through it. Please write in internet and tell me if I'm wrong. You'll enjoy that.
I mean, this one, basically, it's a searching for the 7 pieces of the rod of 7 parts is the structure of the adventure. And you go to 7 distinct, like, planes or settings.
Yeah.
And the rod of 7 parts is another sort of famous D&D artifact. And there have been adventures based around it before. But
I know it's quite a classic, but I do love a fetch quest campaign. I know it's done a lot, but I just think it works nicely in a role playing game. It's like got all these bits to go. Fine, we can go to these different places and get these things, and it's just as a player, I always like those sort of things because I feel like I have a really clear overarching goal.
You definitely know what you're doing.
I know what I'm doing, and then when we go to those different places, there'll be side quests and stuff going on that you can investigate. And maybe I'm just not a very exciting player, but I like that structure. So.
There's a reason why that's an enduring and popular format for adventures.
Yeah. It's clear what you're about.
I enjoy it as a player, for sure.
Yeah. It's not like it's a fetch quest. Go across the map, pick up this potion to help cure my hangover, and then come back and give it to me. That's like an annoying little fetch quest.
It's like a real life fetch quest I do for my partner. So
I was actually drawing from Baldur's Gate 1 when you're in Candlekeep, because that's...
I haven't played Baldur's Gate 1, but yeah.
It's an old game.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't stand up.
Adjust your expectations.
Well, anyway.
And also, it doesn't use 5th edition rules.
No, yeah.
Or even 3rd edition rules. It uses 2nd edition rules.
Second edition rules.
So,
which everybody loves, from what I know.
It's got descending AC instead of ascending AC, so...
I like to call things tacos, because that annoys people.
Tacos.
Anyway, so back to VECNA. So what else have we got to share in this? So yeah, you're finding the rods of 7 parts, multiverse, we're going different places, we're seeing old friends, we're going to old places, it's a wild and wacky road trip.
Yeah, so the book itself, it's like 256 pages. Hardcover, obviously. It comes with a double-sided poster map.
We love a poster map.
It's kind of cool. It's got 30 new monsters.
Nice.
It's got detailed character dossiers on legendary allies who you might recognise from other D&D adventures. Don't know who, but...
So there's lots of cameos, good to know.
Lots of cameos. I think this is going to be a cameo Easter egg-filled thing, I think. I mean, they already mentioned Strahd and Soth, but there's going to be others.
I'm getting less of a roller coaster, more of a it's a small world vibe. Like, it's like this quite cute little thing where you get on the ride in Disneyland and you go around and there's like various little puppets singing at you. So I have like a little image of, I don't know, Lord Soft saying, "I'm so evil, dark and clever, totally distinct from the face."
Do you think that's what it's going to be? Lord Soth popping up like a little puppet going, "I'm so evil."
I'm not going to put money on it, but yeah.
I love a musical number and a fight. And Baldur's Gate 3 spoilers, there is one in Act 3, and it delighted me.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realise it was going to happen, and it just happens, and I was delighted. Beyond it, I think that's the best thing that happened to me last year, to be honest. But anyway.
Okay.
All right.
Let me know when you get to that part in the game, Peter. We can talk about it.
I will look forward to it,
Yeah.
Yeah, what else? There's going to be a prequel bonus adventure coming out April the 16th. So it's like 6 weeks before.
Yeah.
So you can only get it if you pre-order on D&D Beyond.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we don't know much about it other than that it's called VECNA Nest of the Eldritch Eye, and it's a single session adventure. That's basically all you know. There's nothing else, no other information yet about that.
So is that something to kind of hype your campaign party up ready for the release?
Yeah.
I guess so, yeah. It says it foreshadows the
that's a little musée adventure to draw you in.
Yeah.
Do we know anything about the writers? Like, who's on the writing team? Like,
I don't know yet. No, I mean, we can look at the Amazon product page, but I think usually that just says Wizards D&D team these days, doesn't it? It doesn't list them specifically. Let's have a look. Yeah, no, it doesn't say on there.
I don't have that information to hand, I'm afraid. But
no.
I'm sure that will be leaked. Not leaked is the wrong word. Shared with us in advance. Leaked is probably the wrong word. Like it's a secret.
Teased, perhaps.
I mean, it'll be a lot of people, I imagine.
Yes.
It's going to be one of those sort of designer lists inside the front cover, which is going to be sort of like, a couple of dozen people.
Writers, yeah.
Big
project.
Well, maybe not. I don't know. Do not know. There's a lot of art that's been released as well.
Yeah.
And the art is gorgeous. So what I am going to do is show you this art, because there's so much of it. Lots and lots of it.
I've had a mooch, yeah.
No, not scared.
It's in the article. You got it.
Yeah, well, that's a page just with it all.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Lolth there as well.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
So I guess that means she's going to be in it in some manner. I guess. But all of this art is great. There's a lot of arts of VECNA.
Yeah, as you'd expect.
Imagine each plane that you go to get your piece of the staff will have like a big bad in it, which will be one of these iconic people. I imagine. I don't know. This is my guess. So
yeah, that is what I'm assuming. Well, we've got 7 of them, so I imagine you'll go to Ravenloft and you'll meet Strahd, and you'll go to Dragonlance and you'll meet Lord Soth, and then that's my guess.
Oh.
It's kind of hard to tell, but the art is gorgeous. Well, of course it is. It usually is in Wizard stuff, isn't it? They use top-notch artists.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are known for it. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this.
Yes.
Don't know if it's one that I'm actually going to run or anything, but
Yeah, I don't.
I think it's going to be one that's going to be interesting for me to read at the very least.
I I don't think I'm ready as a GM to run high level campaigns in D&D. So I won't buy it for that. But if I was invited to a game of this, I'd probably play, she says.
You probably.
Tenny listeners.
Well,
There's
also going to be.
Oh, these are all clipped off the stream, aren't they?
Yeah.
That explains why that woman is in the background of this one.
There's also.
I basically, like, I'm just leafing through the slideshow, and there was a really weird one where it's like there's Vecna, and then there's a woman looking confused next to him. I'm like, is she trapped in there? No,
she's trapped.
She's
Should we
just
help
someone
her?
on the stream who's like looking at it at the same time that's been caught in the pictures.
Okay.
So,
Funny.
no, sorry.
Yeah.
I was
so
just confused. So.
You know Beadling Grimm?
Yes,
They do those big old platinum editions, box sets.
Yes. But everything you can possibly desire.
Yeah, so they're doing one of those as well, which you'll be able to pre-order from March.
Nice.
Bully.
As usual, there's no real information about what's in it yet. That always comes a bit later. But you can look at previous ones, and they've always had maps, miniatures, cards, props. They've always had tons and tons and tons of stuff, and they usually cost like $200.
Yeah.
And it's a box set.
But you get a lot of stuff. Yeah.
You get a lot of stuff and pins and all sorts of things in them. So they're doing that as they do for most of their D&D releases.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure will be utterly gorgeous as usual.
Yes.
Yeah. So you better pre-order that in March. I think that's kind of it. We've kind of covered pretty much most of what we know so far. I mean, there'll be more information closer to the time, I imagine. But
yeah. Solid set.
Oh, apparently, here we go. The Nest of the Evil Eye. 26 minutes ago, while we were recording, they released a bunch of information about it.
Oh, yeah.
In video format.
Wonderful.
Of course. Very accessible.
Well, I tell you what, why don't we'll watch the video and do a review summary on EN World over the weekend. How about that?
I can look at the comments. The comments say it takes place in Neverwinter. The PCs are hired by Lord Neverember.
Yep.
A level 4 one-shot exploring the catacombs under Neverwinter is basically what it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
So presumably you wouldn't use the same characters then. So this is for level 4. And then the actual Vecna Avenger is level 10. There's a 6-level difference there.
It would require... I guess the idea is you're using D&D Beyond because you're purchasing it. You only obtain access to this venture by purchasing it through D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
And therefore, it's just like you click on the level 4 and move it up to level 10, and then you just make all your choices. And
I suppose
that's
so.
fine. You know? I mean, it's easy to use. From a pedagogic point of view, I'd be like, the players might struggle a little bit, but yeah, they're getting to play high-level D&D, so there'll be lots of options for them to choose from.
And that's what you've got. You're actually playing a game that ends at level 10, and so you just slip that in at level 4.
That's
as a foreshadowing thing, and then at level 10 you then play the Vecna one, and then they remember, oh, hang on a second, back at level 4 maybe.
I mean, yeah, maybe, but that you're looking at, I don't know, 6 months of weekly play.
Yeah, it's quite a big stretch.
Yeah. I mean, even with XP, because the XP curve is quite reasonable to get to level 10. I'll certainly be interested to see if they offer XP within the the full 10 to 20, because that
or whether it's a milestone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because famously post 10, the XP curve goes hee 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 and jumps off the rails.
Goes what? Sorry, Peter?
It goes hee 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 and just jumps off the rails.
Delightful.
Yeah. No, I mean, like in the mid-teens, I think I was working out, because I was trying to make a mega dungeon, as one does, or at least work out how I would go about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do 6 medium adventures per day, then halfway between, when you get, I think it's 14, 15, you basically have earned enough XP from the first 3 medium encounters that you level up. So, midway through, I mean, because you'd have 3 medium encounters over however long, but I like to look at the adventuring day, and so it's probably a bit silly to say you could do it in 2 weeks. But on the other hand, it's pretty quick. It goes much faster when you get into the post-10s. It's a known issue. It's not me claiming that. Like you can find out all over the place when people have been presumably trying to make mecha dungeons, which is where you want to keep track of your XP. But yeah. No, sorry. That's just me going on about stuff that's of no interest to anyone. But as I say, that's why I would be interested to see how they handle XP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what did they do in Dungeon of the Mad Mage? Was that milestones or was that XP?
I haven't run it, but I think the idea is you get one level per level of the dungeon, as it were. Maybe. One character level per dungeon level. That's how I've run it, just for the sake of convenience, because otherwise I'd have to mess around with dealing stuff out. And that's how it's designed, so it does make sense.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I think in terms of actual XP, you would run into problems where you're like, oh, my characters are over-leveled for the next section. I would say. But I don't know. I have not done the maths, I have not run it. I don't know.
Okay, well, I think we have covered VECNA, the evil wizard, in reasonable detail. So we could probably wind it up there.
I think so. I don't have anything more to say. Just looking forward to seeing the book come out so we can see what his dastardly plans are.
Yes, and we'll find out that in May.
Yeah, I hope it makes a lot of people very happy. That'll be good.
Yeah. Oh, also, we've got a Kickstarter launching on Tuesday.
We do, which we talked about last week as well, the Planestrider's Journal.
Planestrider's Journal.
Yeah.
Would love it to check that out.
On Tuesday.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
Exciting stuff. Okay, I think we're done.
Yes.
Get out of here.
Yeah, goodbye for now.
Fare thee well, folks.
Au revoir.
Apparently I now have to read this to you. This is the official podcast of Morrus's unofficial tabletop RPG news, which you can find at enworld.org. You can find show notes at morrus.podbean.com or wherever you found the podcast. If you feel like they deserve it, you can support the show on Patreon. In return, you will receive exclusive bonus content. Just go to patreon.com/Morrus. If you're interested in his babbling nonsense, you can follow @Morrus on the Twitter. Send your emails to morruspodcast@gmail.com. Not all of your emails, just the ones you want us to see. That's it. I'm bored now. You can go away. Shoo, off you go. Goodbye. Get out of here.
I have a printer. My printer's great. It's worked continuously with no problem since for the past 12 years, maybe more.
Great, Peter. I'll send you some stuff to print out then.
Yeah, you've done that before, remember?
Yes, I have. It was right before going to UK Games Expo. My printer was being such a brat, and I tried for 2 days, and I was having such stress. I was like, can anyone print this? And people were like, yeah. No, it's such an easy thing to do.
I've got the same problem, is that I went to print something out yesterday, and it was out of toner yet again. It's basically out of toner every time I use it, as far as I can make out.
Like, use a print shop or something, or get a better printer, I don't know.
Anyway, should we talk about tabletop RPG news? The thing that people came here to listen at.